tolerating joy, a real skills workshop. And it's such an odd thing, isn't it? This idea that we have to tolerate joy.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna ask some questions to get you started. Do you want to introduce us, and then we'll ask them some questions.
Yeah.
We're gonna dig in.
I'm Rick from Thriving Now, and I'm here with Kathy Bartuli from Thriving Now and the Joy Connection,
Yeah.
your company name. And I remember when you picked that, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I could use more connection to joy.
Yeah, it was like
Because
18 years ago when I picked that name. So
yeah, because there's a challenge, isn't there? And I think a lot of those challenges start in childhood. And so one of our first questions is,
can you just invite you just gently, you don't have to dig into things that are going to be heart-wrenching or really intense, but think for a moment of a time when you felt some joy as a kid. Just see if something comes to the top. Sometime when you felt joyful and happy, and just pause it right there. You don't have to go further right now. Someone shared, not too odd for me. Joy is a huge trigger for me, making me a get away from me feeling. Yeah. Well, they always say we teach what we most need to learn. So, a joy connection.
that's what yeah, that's true for me too. I've got one in mind. I remember going out riding my bike in the early morning before the family got up, and um, it just felt so good. I got to ride around the neighborhood, and it was a beautiful morning, and I was just so awake.
Yeah. I love that. I
I,
love
I came back so full,
uh
and then, and it's the and then, right? But for this process, see if there's something that you know gave you joy. Hanging out with my more permissive grandparents. Uh,
Okay, so someone's already jumping to the next step. So you're great. You're foreshadowing. Before we get there, I just, if you can, think about that moment of joy you had. Mine, I think of, there was a time when I was just laying under a tree on a blanket when I was like 5. I think I was homesick or something, but it was a lovely day, and my mom had put a blanket out, and I was laying there watching the shadows and the leaves and stuff, and it just like was such a peaceful moment for me. But when you think of that moment of joy, don't worry about where it's going. We're just tolerating it for just a minute. See if you can notice, how does your body feel? Like, what are the sensations in your body for this? Someone
mm,
shared hanging out with my grandkids yesterday. Someone shared summers spent by the sea. If you can think of something when you're younger, it's great that you can experience. And for getting the sensations, you can definitely do something more recent. But we are curious. One of the things we're exploring is the early patterns we developed for it. So, but if you can, just allow yourself to feel like, is your stomach tight or relaxed? Do you feel warm or cold or cool? Or do you feel a lot of energy? Or like, what are the sensations in your body? Not your thoughts about it, but the actual sensations you're feeling in your body. We're doing somatic work.
Now, if you're energy sensitive, where is your energy field? Like, is it expanding? Is it already expanded? What's the what's the vibe around your energy field?
Yeah.
If that's something you're attuned to.
Yeah. Someone else shared, I remember feeling joy wearing a cute tie-dye midriff top and cute white shorts and feeling pretty and cute and older. And I'm not going to read the second part till we get to the next. Someone shared, I felt warmth in my heart, smile on my face, lighter in my body. Another person, aliveness, connection to all that is, warm feelings all over my body. So just, if you walk, we'd love it when you share in the chat because it helps us like tune to where you're at. But if you want to just write it for yourself, you're welcome to do that too. So as much as I hate to do this, I think it's really important for further growth in this, as some people have already jumped to it. Feeling that joy, remembering that joyful time, remember what happened next. If you either sustain the joy or something bad happened, like what story do you tell yourself about this? Or what did you learn about your joy? Um, like did you start feeling anxious because you were feeling good? Or did someone start kind of frowning at you? Or did something bad happen? Just And you may not have. It's fine if it didn't. But for most of the people showing up on this call, I would imagine that there is some negative things that happened, or you wouldn't be on this call.
And again, one of the challenges here is that we're going to get into this. We're going to do tapping on this. We're going to acknowledge a lot of what I think a lot of us are having difficulty with, because to stay in, as you said, just for a few seconds, I can stay in the feeling of the joy I felt moving my body. When my bicycle thing, I just kept going to the punchline. And so I switched. I switched over to roller skating, and that feeling of moving and flowing and I could stay with it for just a little bit. And then the punchlines come in, and we're seeing that in the comments,
Yeah.
right? It's like, boom, we're already in the, no. We can't stay there. Even decades later, what is happening in our energy and our psyche? Where our memory system is going immediately to the trauma of it. And and that's why this is a skill. And it's not a skill that means we're not going to go there, but we can make increments. The process of just asking the question and reminding ourselves, like, look, there is joy in my childhood. There was actually longer than 10 seconds of joy riding the bicycle. I'm not that fast, right? Like I rode probably 30 miles that morning when I woke up at, 4:50 or something, got out there before dawn and rode all around the neighborhood. It was a big neighborhood my dad lived in. And, I went round and round and round, and there was more than 10 seconds, but wow, holding on to that.
Remembering that good feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And these things, these patterns of, I feel joy, better not. I feel joy, but I feel joy, better not. That suppression is what the workshop is about. And so if you're finding yourself doing that, you're in the right place. We're with the right people. We totally get it.
Absolutely. You don't have to pick the big 10 or 12 T trauma. But all roads lead to Rome in this case. Someone shared, it's not going to last. So if I don't feel joy, then I'll be safe. And you understand the concept that came from, but I would invite you to go back to the memory that caused it. When we try to go with the general concept, we don't have a lot of leverage to change it. It's anchored in, I've been doing a lot of reading recently about how we store memories. And the real impactful memories are stored it's a stimulus oriented memory where it's very specific. And when we can go to a general concept, oh, it's not safe, but it's like vague. We don't really have a way to shift it in our memory system, the subconscious part of it's driving us. But when we go to the actual thing that happened, the very specific thing that happened, and process that, all of a sudden the hook kind of goes. We're not pulling at the general theory, but the actual thing that hooked it for us. So I invite you, if you have something that's kind of general, go to when was the first time I decided that? Or what's an impactful memory that helped me decide that? And you're welcome to share it here if you'd like. I really love that the person shared because it helped me, gave us a chance to share that. The person that shared about the tie-dyed, the cute outfit is that they got attention that was unwanted and uncomfortable. So something negative happened from the joy. Someone also shared about riding the bike, probably, like Rick was, enjoying after swimming with a friend and feeling fast and free, independent. And then their towel gets stuck in the spokes and they flip over the handlebars and broke their arm, alone and in pain and screaming for help. And they took her home, and mom was really angry at me, embarrassed. So there's several of the bigger traumas that happen there. And our system is like, oh my God, we are, especially the part of us that stores things by stimulation, by some somatic feeling and experience, the senses of what we take in through our five senses. It's not very logical. We've talked about this a zillion times. Like, it's not very logical. And it's not going to say, oh, I just should be careful with my towel when I go biking. It's like, oh, I was feeling joy and look what happened. I should avoid that at all costs.
I want to amplify that.
Mhm.
because, you know, there's performative joy, right? Like you given a script, go up on stage, pretend that you're happy, right? And some people can evoke that, like their energy really does go to a performative joy. I have people in my life who really do, like their joy is very expressive, right? When they're in joy, they're loud, they're energetically big, they're exuberant, and so like if you were to map that energy, one is okay, it's pretending joy. The other is this is exuberant, exuberant yang. It's a very expressive kind of
Introverted.
joy. But Kathy said, what our sensation of joy is what matters. And that's why we're inviting you to feel it. And someone said, like that feeling of freedom and speed and
They might not have been cheering
I,
or laughing or
I,
smiling. It might have been very quiet, but
it might have been, even I'll watch my daughter on the monkey bars, and sometimes the look on her face is just deeply joyful in her power, her inner power. Like
totally
my
on
heart's
those bars,
pumping,
but she was sweet.
muscles are working. Now, sometimes she
Not
wants to
take her away from
right? So we're not fixed, but if these things that you've shared, if you look at them and they're like moving, there's a sensation of like riding a bike is a sensation, roller skating is a sensation, holding a flower or running through like I remember the last time I ran through the clover was coming from I haven't thought of this in years, but it fits this. I was so happy. I had just swum a new record at our pool for the number of continuous laps between the break time. So in 45 minutes, I had swum a new record for the pool because they kicked all the kids out at every 45 minutes. And I was running home to tell my mom. And the clover felt so good under my feet. I was barefooted. Bee sting, bee sting. That was the last time I ran through clover because I don't care how good it feels to run through the grass barefooted. And I honestly don't think I think that that's a contributor. I'm going to keep that off to the side here. Like, is that why I don't ever, one of the reasons, not always causative, but that's where tolerating joy is sensation oriented. So, someone who's shared, I experienced joy at the beach with my dad holding me in the deep and riding bodyboards. It's still the thing that brings me the most joy in life when I can do it. So I'm guessing that the sensation of bodyboards being wet and connected, and there's the smells and sensation of being in the water is different than riding a bike down a hill. That the brain goes, oh, this is a different sensation. There's actually, we didn't drown, right? We didn't bang our head and get hurt in a way that left us wanting or embarrassed or something. And so, like, oh yeah, when we have that sensation, let it go. Yeah, let it come. We can tolerate that sensation. But if it's tied to,
it's
go
not
ahead,
just movement though. It's the five senses, the senses coming in.
all the senses, right, including energetic senses about other people's energy if you're empathetic. Um, and hypervigilance goes with this challenge. There's actually, I discovered today, a word for it: cheerophobia. Cheerophobia, and it's a fear of being joyful. And in fact, we are definitely not alone. Um, it says it affects many people. It's also called foreboding joy,
Or anticipatory trauma.
anticipatory trauma. But using the joy, cheer, good cheer, affects many people. particularly those who have experienced trauma, chronic stress, or unpredictable environments.
They
And the
can't
good
lift their
news
hands up.
and the good news is that joy tolerance can be built gradually through specific trauma-informed practices, which is one way of saying it's a real skill. And so that's why we're getting.
Application we're trying to walk you through. We're trying to give you some intellectual concepts as well, just to help guide you. One of the things about the stimulus activated memory, it's called SAM for short, as opposed to VAM, which is the part that we can talk about, that we kind of maybe either remember people talking about or we remember remembering. We're not in the sensations of it. The SAM part of us actually controls us very strongly. It's very subconscious often, and it's associative. So, meaning it doesn't understand causation versus correlation. Correlation means two things happen together, they're not actually related. So the bee stings had nothing to do with the fact you just won, you did the record or were feeling joyful. It's just there were bee stings. But that part of our brain doesn't understand the difference between correlation and causation. Like, oh, if maybe you were so happy you weren't paying attention to where you're putting your feet, well, that's something you could learn and go, oh, huh, maybe I should be a little more careful there, but I can still run joyfully through the clover. Um, so that part of our brain isn't very logical. It's just like, oh, someone said that I was having a great time, and then my mother called me in for dinner with family. She was a rotten cook. So that part of your brain could say, oh, if I'm joyful, I've got to go eat rotten meal with some people that I might be feeling really stressed around. So it links it. When we do this processing, the intellectual side can come in and go, had nothing to do with feeling joyful. It just happened to be what happened next. And then we have a lot more freedom to feel things.
And I think that as we look at this together, I think sometimes when we look at someone else's situation, we can say, oh, well, that's, you know, um, you linked up a belief because of what happened that isn't actually necessarily true. And, or, yeah, there's definitely an upgrade. I used to run through that same field in the clover barefoot twice a day. And I used to run even faster going to the pool when it was opening, right? But as Kathy said, I was very aware of bees and would notice them and run around them. I never got stung until that time.
But your brain
And
will soften.
right, but here's where the subconscious, the if you call it that, or that SAM system, says we've decided without you really thinking about it that running barefoot in grass is a terrible idea. Now, I can articulate that in words now, but if you asked me 5 years ago at a party while everyone's dancing barefoot in this glorious grass while I still have my shoes on, I'd be like, yeah, I just prefer to keep my shoes on. Am I suppressing an experience? Absolutely. Do I know why I'm suppressing that experience? No, I didn't. Now I've got a clue, at least. If I want to start walking in grass barefoot more, I will probably need to do some tapping on um, that crash. And that's one of the things that the foreboding aspect of tolerating joy. If you have one or 1,000 experiences where you were feeling pretty good and there was a crash, your nervous system pulls it together. It says, no, 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 that's enough. That's enough. No, be well behaved boy. No, no, nobody's, it'll make up stories, suppression stories. And this is where we'll see some of those probably come out. Like, and I invite you to, as part of the skill is this a suppression story? What do I mean by that? Well, when I arrived home from the bicycle, I wanted to tell everyone about what I saw, right? I'm like 8 years old. I saw so many things in the early morning that I hadn't seen. I wanted to tell everyone. Man, was I shut down. Everyone was so grumpy. They didn't want to be up for breakfast. You know, the breakfast was nobody's favorite meal. There was no joy around the table, and um, can you feel like that's a suppression story? Like, no, 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 nobody's interested in what gives you joy.
Yeah, we learn to inhibit ourselves to fit into our environment. And it's very smart at the time, but it's sadly no one ever tells us we can turn it off later.
Right. So,
So
if there are things that you'd like to to reflect on in the chat, if you're here live, please feel free.
I
Kathy and
want
I would like to go ahead. You have a
I just
idea?
wanted to add a point here. So I love it when you have the concept of what happened. I compared my joy to someone else's. It's dangerous to feel pretty and sexy. And if I hurt myself, it's my fault. Those are general concepts. If you can, we talk about this in EFT a lot, is pick the time when. I learned this, the time when. You want a very specific time when you learn that, because that's where it's much easier to unhook than, again, or very general. A lot of people try to tap on, I'm afraid of this, or I want to do this, or whatever, and it's general, and you just don't get the leverage with that part of your memory that's holding it fixed in place. So if you can, pick the time when this happened. Yeah, do you want to do some tapping?
I do. And just to reflect, there's another comment here. Um, we're all learning how to manage our chi, our life force energy. And some people are naturally, as I said, very exuberant yang. There are other people whose just energy is really intense. It's part of their wiring. It can be a trauma response. We don't know. Um, but if we want more of something in our life and to be able to tolerate it, um, this is this engagement around what happens in my body when I'm around a certain kind of energy. What do I feel as my knee-jerk reaction or my initial reaction? Emotional freedom says I'm going to have a stimulus, all those sensations, all the mix of the five. I may, I probably don't necessarily have a clear idea in my reaction what brought it on. Um, Emotional freedom wants to create a pause and a gap between reaction and how we respond. That is, for me, emotional freedom. That's what I've been craving. It's what I work toward, is where I'm still reactive, to have enough of a gap where I can like set a different boundary or the other things. And part of creating that gap is to take the things that cause us to be reactive inside of ourselves. We may not even show it to anyone else. Maybe the only one who knows. I am so triggered here. I'm just gonna quietly smile until I can get out of here. Right? So we're going to do some tapping on a variety of different things. EFT tapping. Kathy, do you want to describe a little bit about what tapping is?
Well, we're physically tapping on acupressure points that help our body reset itself. And there's lots of understanding that's happening about how it happens, works with the primitive brain and helps. And it looks like it's interacting with the SAM from what I can see in a more direct way. We can't talk to ourselves, and a lot of people try to like affirmations, and our brain is pretty powerful. And if it doesn't believe the affirmation, it's like you're throwing a little water at a bonfire and you're sprinkling a little water, and it's like, oh, I feel frustrated because I'm not making a progress. But when we can do the tapping, helps reset our beliefs. It helps us see things in a different way, and that releases the hook a lot. One of the things someone said, I can't remember the sensation of joy in the past, but I noticed heaviness in my stomach as I'm thinking about it now. When we do tapping, you don't even have, you can feel that heaviness in your stomach and just be with it while you tap. Even if you don't remember the actual thing that caused this heaviness, be with the sensation. Anytime you're with the somatic feelings, the actual sensations in your body, you're accessing SAM. You're accessing that part of your brain. So maybe you don't remember what caused the heaviness. You can think, what does this remind me of? Sometimes that helps. But you can also just tap on that feeling of heaviness And sometimes it gets really clear, or sometimes it dissipates or moves around. There's all kinds of things that happen. Um, but when you're tapping, we're basically going in and doing a computer reset and going, hey, I know that you said these things go together with running through the clover, but maybe they don't have to be so linked. Maybe, oh, running through clover, I can be aware there's bees and watch where I'm putting my feet, but I'm allowed to have joy. And
Mhm.
I can run through clover and be barefoot with my friends in safe places, and I just pay a little more attention. So it gives us we get that part of our brain can be very rigid because it's locking things together. And then we can never do those things again if we want to avoid the pain. Versus once we do some tapping, they're kind of like, oh, they go together sometimes and not all the time. And I can just
Right.
pay attention when they do.
Mhm. Would you like to lead one on, um, I'm drawn to crashes are intolerable.
Oh, yeah. I hated the crashes. Going from very joyful to pain or distress for me, my nervous system just hates that. So I would always like try to dampen it down before, like, I would literally start getting agitated when I was too happy, and I would think thoughts that would kind of pull me down, or I'd poke at someone until we got in a fight, or it was not good for
Okay. Yeah,
relationships.
let's do some tip traffic on that one.
Karate chop, even though that crash really sucks.
Even though that crash really sucks,
I can't afford to fly high.
I cannot afford to fly high
I
or
can't.
fast or
I
fast.
can't. Yeah, I can't feel good.
I can't feel good.
I don't have enough control,
I don't have enough control.
and that crash is going to hurt way too much.
And that crash is going to hurt way too much.
But I still want to feel some joy sometimes.
I want to feel some joy sometimes.
Oh, that's not possible. It's just not safe.
That's not safe. Are you kidding me? Don't be, I'm not that stupid.
I am not that stupid.
I am not that stupid. I learned the hard way.
But kids are somewhat more volatile sometimes.
Kids are sometimes more volatile.
They don't have as much experience as adults.
They don't have as much experience as adults.
And I've learned some amazing skills for dealing with disappointment.
And I've learned at least some skills for dealing with disappointment.
What if I could allow myself some quiet joy?
What if I could allow myself some quiet joy?
That I think I'm really crazy to even think about it.
I think I'm really crazy to even think about it.
I remember how much that hurt.
Remember how much that hurt.
The time when I really crashed.
The time I really crashed,
I thought my heart was going to break.
I thought my heart was going to break.
Into the nose. I didn't know how to deal with it.
I did not know how to deal with it.
And the people around me didn't either.
And the people around me didn't either.
Color wound. They actually added to the trauma.
They definitely added to the drama.
Under the arm. I wonder if I'm in a better place now to feel a little joy.
I wonder if I'm in a better place to feel a little joy sometimes
Top of the
when
head.
no one's watching.
I could take baby steps.
I can take baby steps.
I wrote, might be fun to try a little joy.
It might be fun to try a little joy.
Out of the eye. What if I could just tolerate a 2 in joy for 10 seconds?
What if I could tolerate a 2 in joy for 10 seconds?
Under the eye. It might be curious.
You might be curious.
Under the nose. I hate that I cut out so much joy out of my life.
I do hate that I cut out so much joy in my life.
And all that inhibition and suppression.
All that inhibition and suppression.
Collarbone, all that avoiding.
All that avoiding.
I'd really like to try to change this pattern.
I'd really like to change this pattern.
Top of that, and maybe a baby step is a good place to start.
And maybe a baby step is a good place to start.
Just take a breath. And just notice what's coming up in your body. There's no right or wrong. We're just being curious. You might feel some intensity, negative or positive. You might have some thoughts coming up, some memories. Just notice them with curiosity. Your SAM system is trying to communicate with you. Your whole system wants to heal. It wants freedom and health and joy. It's like a natural impulse for it. but often it's stuck on things. So it's going to try to send you clues, but it's not like your explicit memory where it can go, oh, that was silly. Why did I ever think that? It can't do that, but it can send you pictures and feelings. It's trying to communicate with you. And the tapping helps you get access to that.
Mm. Crashes are sometimes specific traumas. If you have, like some people have shared, a specific trauma where you were feeling joy and there was a crash, literal crash, bee sting, emotional shaming, whatever it was, and that is still, intense to you at a 7, 8, 9,
There's a lot of
um,
inhibition going on.
we're not going to be doing specific trauma work, but there's a course we have on childhood trauma relief, and there's other free things about relief to specific traumas that we have. You can email us at support@thrivingnow.com if you need a pointer to it. Um, but even the general invitation, you'll notice that there was a lot of invitation there. With tapping, you recognize something that you feel, a somatic experience, something in your body, a thought, a belief, how you've adapted. I like the way that you brought in, a recognition of you're going to have feelings about suppressing your joy in the past. Like I, ever since we scheduled this, I, wow, I think that's why it got delayed twice. Um, is that for me, um, I'm actually surrounded by a lot of joy. And there's a fear and control and resistance that activates in me. And some of that is just old patterns that really don't have to do with even what I would consciously consider good parenting. And I do the same for myself too. And so I'd like to do a tapping just on some of that reaction to joy.
That'd be really good.
Even though I react to joy,
Even though I react to joy.
and it's not the way I react to chocolate cake and ice cream.
It's not the way I react to chocolate chip, chocolate cake, and ice cream.
I don't necessarily think this is something good.
I don't necessarily think this is something good.
Top of the head. There's too much joy here.
There is too much joy here. Alert, alert.
Eyebrow. Too much joy.
Too much joy.
Side of the eye. Too loud.
Too loud.
That much joy is unacceptable.
That much joy is unacceptable.
Isn't it?
Isn't it?
Under the nose. A part of me learned that.
A part of me learned that.
Jen, a part of me reacts to that still.
Part of me reacts to it still.
Come on. It doesn't even fit how I feel.
Doesn't even fit how I feel.
I want them to be joyful.
I want them to be joyful.
Under the arm. I want me to be joyful.
I want me to be joyful.
Top of the head. And the truth is, there are parts of me that do not think that that's safe.
Part of me really doesn't think that that's safe.
Or welcome.
Or welcome. Anything our brain has learned is dangerous. And again, it's our subconscious is not logical. We avoid. We're going to inhibit or get away from. Well, Rick and I have done a bunch of calls on money. And I had this problem. Money was a cause of fights all the time when I was little. And so I was terrified of it, even though I really wanted to save it. And no matter how hard I worked, my bank account was always almost depleted and my credit card was run up. And no matter, I just like fighting myself. And I was so like, I'm a smart person. What am I doing wrong? And once I got tapping and clearing some of that, I'm like, wait, there's money in my bank account. What happened? My brain thought of it as like having poisonous snakes crawling all around me. It's like, get it away. So we can do the same thing for joy. And someone shared in here, I thought it was a great example. family joy with cousins, and then parents having a huge fight, and then leaving and driving this long way home with angry, sad parents, and then not seeing the cousins for months or years. It happened more than once. That's like, oh, if I feel this good feeling, I get loss, I get anger, I get all these other things that our brain thinks goes with it. Why would I want to have that good feeling? It doesn't make any sense to that part of our brain. But as we start unhooking these old beliefs, they're like, well, mom and dad really didn't know how to handle their anger. And they didn't really communicate really well. And they kind of dripped it all over the whole family. And wow, that had nothing to do with my joy. That was their issue. But when we're little, we're in that soup and we can't separate it.
Yeah. So our reaction to other people's joy, someone was honest about it. Look, they don't like it when other people are joyful when they're not. And that is so human. Um, I That's true for me. There's a disconnect, right? We I think we'll go into the a little deeper in a bit, but if you have a reaction that way, ask yourself, I mean, is that the way you want to stay? Because if it is the way you want to stay, then you can say something to yourself like, yeah, I want to hold a space that when my children or other people are around those that are miserable, that they take their joy outside.
There's a
That they
difference. They
recognize.
can take it outside or be elsewhere, but a lot of people, it's they should kill it.
Well, what is self-control, right? Like I want to be energy savvy. Okay. If I just had the best moment of my life and I just walked into somebody and they were diagnosed with breast cancer, I am not going to take over the space.
Right.
So like as a parent, I want my children to grow up to be savvy at tracking the areas. And here's the thing. If I'm reactive about their joy, I'm not actually a good parent by my definition. If I am able to coach them about it, then I'm more in myself. But my reaction is coming from somewhere. It could be like that noise. I'm noise sensitive. That noise is too much for me. It could be that I just am reactive to an intense energy of any kind. I get that. And so this is one of the things that I promised was what's working for me. And um, and this is like looking at how do I want to be, not where I am. I'm talking about where I want to be. And where I want to be is okay, if I'm getting triggered and reactive, I want a pause, which asks a very simple question. Is this allowed? And if the answer to that is it's allowed, suddenly something changes inside me. Because now I know it's my body, mind's energy reaction to that, rather than they're doing something that the space was not designed to do. Okay? Does that make sense? And that's allows, as Kathy said, it starts taking something that is all kind of glommed together in my nervous system and starts separating it out. And this is what I've tapped on. Like, even though I reacted,
Even though I reacted.
and I'm flooded right now.
And I'm flooded right now.
I am so resentful.
I'm so resentful.
How could they be so loud and joyful
How could they be so loud and joyful
when I'm not?
when I'm not?
As I feel into this,
As I feel into this,
what they're doing is actually allowed.
what they're doing is actually allowed.
Top of the head. It's too much for me.
It's too much for me.
Eyebrow. But it is allowed.
It is allowed.
Side of the eye. They're allowed to play in the playroom.
They're allowed to play in the playroom.
Under the eye. They're allowed to play exuberantly in the playroom.
They're allowed to play exuberantly in the playroom,
onto the nose, even though I'm tired with a headache.
even though I'm tired with a headache.
It's allowed.
It's allowed.
It's allowed in this case.
It's allowed in this case.
I may have a request.
And I have a request.
I may have a
I
request,
may have a request,
but what they're doing is allowed.
but what they're doing is allowed.
Top of the head. I'm even glad my kids have joy.
I'm even glad my kids have joy. I think it's a lot. We talked in another call about differentiation. Enmeshed families, we all have to have the same feelings. And if anyone's happy when other people are sad, you're like, you don't value, respect me. You like, there's a lot of emotions that come up about it. Sorry, I didn't mean that quite as to come out quite as mocking as I meant as I said it, but I get very frustrated sometimes when I see people pulling everyone else down. When we can be separate, when I get to be joyful, you get to be wherever you are. I don't have to like pummel you with my joy. I don't have to pummel you with my sadness, but we get to have our own thing and we get to feel out how do we want to interact around it. I think emotionally savvy people, I really love that you said, oh, like they get to have this in this one place, or we've agreed that's there within the rules, even though my head hurts. And we can kind of be like, oh, they can be joyful while I'm sad and I have space for it. And I think there's some people that don't have that capacity. And we're often savvy enough to go, oh, that person's not going to handle this well. So I'm going to just tuck it off to the side and, wait till I can get out of here and go feel it. But we're also not responsible anymore for like, when we were little, it was smart. It was savvy to like, oh, they're going to come down on me like a ton of bricks. They're going to make sure I'm not joyful anymore if I go around being joyful. So it was good to hide it. But now we can just go, oh, wow, it sounds like you're having a really rough day, and we can decide how much we want to be there for them. And then we can go out and run through the clover if we want to. The differentiation and emotional savviness let us be like, we don't have to be the same thing. We can have joy. For someone shared about enmeshment, that it was really the family that decided what was joyful, what was good. And it's great to find out like what actually makes me happy. And that's just a really fun path to go on.
Mm-hmm. So I do sometimes say it's not allowed.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if the kids are playing and I'm cooking and their play comes into the kitchen. Now, if I'm reactive, I'm going to get angry and feel offended. And that, again, I'm not judging at this point. I've done enough tapping and introspection to know that my very human reactions are human reactions. I also believe with all my heart and have seen in so many thousands of people at this point that which we react to can be gently coaxed and encouraged into a different kind of response. Because being resentful of those that are joyful actually locks us in energetically, right? It's like, oh, I'm reacting with resentment. And that happened so fast. I was in the middle of writing a very complicated reply to someone, and the kids just started having the greatest time. And when you have what you're in the middle of typing, and then something happens and it's gone. Like I didn't actually do this, but I was like,
Not imagine.
I started my turn and I said, it's allowed. Tap, tap, tap. I'm not suppressing myself, by the way, in my energy field. It didn't feel I was channeling a reaction into clarity. That's the way it feels inside of me. It's like, what is actually going on here? I had a reaction. Oh, well, they're having a great time. And yeah, I was trying to do something that required deeper conversation, deeper concentration and quiet for me, doing it in the other room, which is allowed. um, and that kept me from yelling at them to keep it quiet. In little increments, I'm wanting an environment where we can talk and describe like what we need. And about 15 minutes later, I felt my clarity returning about what I wanted to say, which actually was a little different than what I was about to write. And I said, "Hey, I'm going to go upstairs to the office and close the door and finish this email." And it actually came out in a way that was really pleasing to me, if that makes sense. So I believe that as we get savvy with the skill of going from reaction and what rises from reaction to um, like taking it within, going to a place of what's okay, what's allowed. Um, we will feel better, and the really cool thing is that um, if we, I've noticed that as I say it's allowed around joy, I actually am starting to use it around like disappointment.
Mm.
Like I used to have this reaction to loud energy, including loud disappointment. And I would say it's at
Endura's been
least,
helping you with that one.
yeah, I know, but this, that's one of the cool things about, as you said, the SAM system is that the sensation of a loud emotional energy coming at me was creating a pretty consistent, this is not okay, this is not allowed, even though consciously, well, disappointment's allowed. I coach that. I try to coach myself with that. Um, do you see by opening up this pathway to, oh well, yeah, their enjoyment is allowed. They're allowed to enjoy things. Oh, they're actually allowed to not enjoy things too.
The full
You know,
range.
it's allowed. And that's it's a fascinating thing that I wanted to share because I sense a skill developing in me that I've been wanting around the range of very intense emotions that are right in my nervous system, right in my energy space, which is different than in an email or in a over Zoom or something.
Yeah. And I'd love to, I love that you're sharing these examples. I do want to just add that I think that Rick is being a little bit hard on himself when he sees a bad parent when he does stuff. He's doing skills that most parents wouldn't. I mean, I would judge 80% of the population would never even consider looking at. So,
Thank
and
you.
much less doing it at the level he's doing at.
It,
So if you
it's
hear
more
something
the
that resonates,
feeling of like this isn't the parent I want to be, and it
right.
feels bad, and I get a body no from how I'm expressing my
Right.
reaction.
I was little, I understand where you come from, and I so respect and love how much you care about being a good parent. I just know for myself, I'm like, oh, I've done some of these things with my cats or my friends, or like I don't have kids myself, but I borrow them consensually from people. Um, and I'm definitely not perfect at this. And if they're not even my kids, and they're definitely more triggering when they're your own kids. I just wanted to add in that if someone is sitting there kind of beating themselves up about not being a good parent, know that just the fact that you care about this and it resonates with you means that you're already more introspective and more aware than a lot of like a vast majority of I would judge parents out there. So we're always fine tuning. I don't know that we're ever satisfied, and just noticing it. The fact, oh my god, I'm aware. If I there's people I know that are in my life now and earlier, that if I told them that this was a concern, they're like, no, those stupid kids should know not to rampage through the house when I have a headache. I didn't tell them, but they should
How
know.
many times have I told them not?
So, like the fact that just being on this call means that you're someone who cares about fine tuning your life. Because when you allow more joy in your life, you're role modeling for other people. And really, I think when we walk through the world, we learn through mirror neurons, pick up stuff. Like we don't even have to be deeply connected with someone for them to go, oh, that person's allowing joy. How did they get to do that? It shows possibilities. So the fact that you're here on this call doing this work is such a beautiful thing to me.
My parenting this time around, I have adult children too.
2 rounds too. He said 2 rounds.
Yeah, 2 rounds. So in this second round, someone said it's like full expression at loud and high intensity isn't allowed. And I want to clarify. Um, I have made it clear to my kids that the sound of sirens coming out of their mouth or out of any toys is not something I can handle within our house. I can handle it if they're running up and down the street. I can. If it's in the other room, even if I'm in this office and the door is closed and they're downstairs, someone gave us a fire truck.
That was not me. I'm not the bad person this time.
Yeah. But again, like that raised the question about what's allowed. And I think that if I help the kids understand that there are humans that are sensitive to certain kind of sounds or like emotional intensity, right?
Good awareness.
So it's saying, hey, when it comes to emotions, I have super hearing, like, and so if you're really tender and quiet, but you want someone to be really with you, I can do that. Right? But really intense energy overwhelms my system in the same way that if I were to, a big, scary monster were to scream in your ear would hurt. Your body would be like, I got to get away from this. And so please understand, I'm more sensitive than the average monster. And you don't want me to turn me into a monster. All right. Like, so I believe that there is a quality of tolerating joy, which says, what's my reaction in the range of I want someone to be able to have that experience. Okay. Like if I love someone, I want them to be able to have that exuberant joy. Where would I feel just delighted to have them have that exuberant joy? Half a mile away. I could watch them from binoculars. Hey, if that's your yes, right? Like, it's allowed. It's allowed on the beach when I'm, way up on the deck, keeping an eye on you, right? But not like in my face. And that is true for both of us that are parenting this range of kids. We have exuberant beings, and I'm wanting to just allow a bit more. It's allowed. It's allowed. It's allowed. And then there's this range of no, too much.
It's allowed, but is it appropriate for the situation?
Not in my. We have an expression called "not in my space bubble." Right? Space bubble says, depends on which space bubble you're talking about, but I have a number of them, and certain things are not allowed, like at closer levels.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And I think that's, it changes our energy to being one where there's a difference between pre-suppression of that which is actually allowed, which I suffer as I'm using that term very mindfully.
Yeah.
It's painful when I suppress myself, when I really could be, like, man, this is awesome. I want to have more of those moments. And yeah, this we space is not designed for that, you know. Um, there,
Um,
go ahead.
sorry.
And then we should take our 7-minute break.
Yeah, we should take. I was just going to say, I think we should probably. This is such a good topic. I think we should take a break and come back. We're going to talk more about perfectionism and ways that we block our enjoyment of life by comparison and other things like that. So I think it was a pretty juicy topic, and I love how much you're all sharing on this. It's really helping us kind of tune it to what you want, hopefully. So,
Yeah, and we'll be reading and checking the chat during the break. And if you're watching the recording, invite you to take a break here too. We'll be back in 7 minutes.
yes.
So,
Yes.
welcome back.
Some great comments over the break. Thank you all. I wanted to comment on someone was saying that there are different hormones involved with feeling joy. And it's true dopamine and endorphins, serotonin, oxytocin, there's others too. Realize that our nervous system can tell what's going through our system. It feels different if we're feeling a lot of serotonin or dopamine or oxytocin. They feel somewhat different to our nervous system. If we got really frightened or overwhelmed when there was a dopamine experience, for example, we might, next time we feel dopamine, we might be like, oh, scary. So again, that causation, it's not really related necessarily, but our system doesn't know it. Um, and I think the simplest way, in my mind, doesn't mean it's the only option at all, is to go that time that I felt this, like let yourself feel that anxiety or whatever comes up and see where it draws you, where your memory draws you to, and then do tapping on that particular memory because that's probably where it's hooked. And then maybe depending on your life, what you had, some of us have many different things, but if you tap on the ones that come up, usually if you do 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 of them, you start getting a huge shift in your system. So, and there may be other things going on too, but often that can really shift it.
And we're seeing the wisdom of our community and our circle here. Um, we if you've been looking at this and you're yourself and you realize, oh, I was I was someone who experiences powerful experiences that I call joy,
Mhm.
but they're not a very loud kind of evocative way of expressing it. And we grew up with a family that um, their joy was loud and, football game, cheering, yelling, screaming, and we're like, oh no, you don't understand. I was walking along the trail and it was so peaceful and quiet, and it's early autumn here in Appalachia, and the moss was happy. I could
I love that feeling.
moss was happy. And there was this leaf, this one red leaf on the moss. You'll never believe it. There was a mushroom, little tiny mushroom growing right next to it too. It's like, oh God, how beautiful.
You can just strike us.
Now
And
I'm you could probably tell I'm acting a little bit to help communicate this across a video channel. Whereas if you saw me on the trail, you'd see a stop, a pause. You might notice that I took a bigger breath. I closed my eyes. I put my hand to my heart. I can still feel it. I can still sense it. And I tolerated it. And sometimes you'll see my pace quicken because the energy, whatever it is like I'm putting a sound to it. And yeah, when we get
whatever.
to recognize, and then there's the question of, okay, I definitely have learned that there are simple uplifts and they're mine, and it's like that word, that turn of phrase can give me such an inward sense of just artistry when that comes to me or I see it. It's like, oh, and even that's too evocative for like what I actually feel. And I would say that part of my curiosity here is as a kid, I was definitely more inward. Like if I really could coach myself at 8, I'd be like, yeah, most of your joy is going to be like, remember that time when you you were just cruising down the fire lane on the roller skates and you just felt like it was effortless. You didn't go woohoo, right? It was just like that inner joy. And there's a part of you that wants moments and places to celebrate. And and that's part of the tolerating joy that we've touched on is what is the we space designed for? And if we're in a family where it's chaos or a family which is not really connected, they're not deeply interested in their whole role model about parenting is more about control than getting to know and to
It's literally tolerating the day and tolerating the kids.
yeah, if that's the model that we were growing up with. My mother didn't want to get me to get injured and hurt. She worried a lot. And so everything that I did to keep her from getting worried was being a good boy. Um, but if we can also explore, like, is there another aspect of joy that I would like to feel free to express? And I'm seeing some of that in the community center, thrivingnow.center. I see people who feel a joy in expressing themselves and being heard. And it's vulnerable and um, and doing some art that just or finding a piece or a song or sharing an experience. I am taking such joy, really, and it's got some exuberance to it. Like, oh, this is my space that I am co-creating, and look at these people. They're doing things that are really right for them. I can feel it. They're saying it in their words. They're sharing their music and their art and their reality. And I just take such pleasure in that. And if I can tolerate a little more of that, I get nourished. And this is where joy, like yearning, has an edge. And it's okay for us to say, look, yearning has an edge, and which is our last workshop, and joy, it has an edge. It's like up to this point, my nervous system can be with it, or for this long, and then I want to catch it more softly. And that's the crash. It's not a crash avoidance, which is survival, but to me, there's a skill in being like, oh, that was amazing.
It's more a transition, not a crash, I think.
Correct.
It's like, oh, because everything comes and goes. All of our emotions come and go. And I think I know I suck at transitioning emotions because there was not really anyone teaching me how to do it. And I would cling to the good stuff as long as I could and then flump into the bad. I think that when we can learn, like, oh, it's just an ebb and flow. It's just what is. And I think a lot of that, like listening to our body, how do I want to express this particular feeling? How can I be with this particular feeling? Oh, this is something I label as good. This is something I label as bad or scary. Oh, those are thoughts about it, but all feelings are just part of us and listening to our authentic expression as we go through it versus like, I should be jumping up and down to be if I'm joyful, or I should be waving my arms, or what is it that I think I should be doing versus what do I actually feel like doing? That's a skill that many people don't have.
Mhm. You were talking about perfectionism.
I think it's a really important topic for this. Is it okay if I just riff a little bit and you can add in?
Mm-mm.
So I think I've shared a number of times over here that I've been doing a lot of studying Buddhism, and I love the two cups idea. It's like you can have both. And I did not grow up with this. And my growing up, it was very black or white. You're either happy or you're sad. What's your problem? And that's not how humans actually work. Like it was a really big aha for me. Like, hello, I can be happy like that I'm having a beautiful day and sad about something I read on the news, or like I could have had a tough call with somebody, but I could also just enjoy the sip of tea I'm taking, while I'm on the call with that person. So giving space for both, um, I think it allows us to be nourished a lot more in life and to be with reality as it is, as opposed to how we think it should be. I know it was a very much control mechanism. Like I had to have everything lined up and just right, and then I could allow myself to relax and have some pleasure. But everything had to line up just right. And if one little thing went wrong, it was like, never mind. And I would get so mad at that thing or the person, or like, oh, could you? You ruined the whole thing. It didn't really. It was my mental pattern around it. But I love that two cups. Like, can I have both? Can I feel, and many cups? Like, I can be somewhat angry and sad and scared and happy, and we can have a lot of different feelings going on at the same time. We are complex human beings. And I think for many of us, a sense of safety meant, oh, I better be perfect about this, or I'm going to get hurt or judged or picked on or ashamed or whatever. So that we often just held on to like, oh, I can only be happy when I'm alone and there's no one else there. Or I can only be happy when things have gone really smoothly. Or do you have some that you do, or you used to do?
Um, I think I was still with the and how that applies to joy, especially in my world, and just feeling that, oh, there's something here where there is something that is enjoyable,
Mm-hmm.
um, that I can sip. And in fact, my AI talked about sipping joy
Oh, I
as
love that.
before the call.
I
Just
love
a
that.
sip, just a sip. And I noticed, for example, I was trying to get, I had forgotten that Adira had tumbling class.
Mm.
And I was feeling Mama just left for work. It's like, tumbling class.
Ah, run, run.
Guess what? Bald men don't have a lot of experience putting ponytails in. They're staying.
Oh, I can so picture this.
And Gem has tried to teach me 4 times now. So in one hand, I'm like, I want her to be there on time. It's a little awkward to come into a class that is already started, and she's um,
She doesn't go
it just works better. It just works better if we arrive on time, even a little early. And so there was that kinetic energy, and it was pretty like I wasn't in reaction. It was more like, okay, we're gonna have to get our stuff together, get dressed, get out. Um, oh, they want us to pee before you go, right? Because the
Oh,
outfit is hard to get in and out of, which we did. And then it was like, oh, ponytail time.
oops. Mom, I accidentally
So
cut
I,
off her hair, so I didn't have to put it in a ponytail.
but you know what? I did a B plus job for the first time.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
the bow was up and down instead of to the side and stuff, but I sipped a little joy of, there will come a time where I want to remember this moment. I want to feel the connection and the satisfaction of, yeah, dad did it. And,
I love that.
but it was a sip because there was other things going on that were essential. We arrived right on time.
I think the more we
And
tolerate it, though, the more we can, like, we build up muscles and capacity for it. So it's like, oh, I can just sip it here. But like, if you keep practicing in 3 months, it might be like, oh, I can have a nice dose of it while I'm juggling other things.
I I even I even gave myself enough of a sip to take a picture of it
Aw.
and send it off to Jem. And so in the midst of all of that, And the energy I had because I've been practicing this for a month is it's allowed. You Rick, not just like
Other
she's
people.
allowed, but like you're allowed to pause here and record this in your heart and in a picture,
Yeah.
even though it's not perfect, even though you forgot, even though there's a kinetic energy to get out the door. And that's honestly really encouraging for me.
That's huge.
Of more vitamin J would be really good when you're tending to a lot in your life, in your world, in your work, um, in your own body.
Can we
To
do a
get to
little
connect
tapping
with it.
to anchor some of
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Would you lead it?
Yeah, I'd love to. And I have some suggestions from the tapping or from the chat to you. Just I invite you take a deep breath and see if you can get with your body sensations. That helps you access that part of your brain you're trying to shift. And just breathe and just let yourself be here for a second and notice your fingers. Notice the sensation of your fingers tapping. A lot of times we kind of get numb to it because if we tap a lot, we get used to it. Even though I learned joy wasn't safe.
Even though I learned joy wasn't safe.
And it seemed like there were a lot of lessons.
And it seemed like there were a lot of lessons.
And seeing that not all of them meant joy wasn't safe.
Starting to see that not all of them meant that joy wasn't safe.
Sometimes it wasn't safe with certain people.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it wasn't safe with certain people.
And isn't it cool that I know how to turn it off if I need to?
Yeah. Isn't it cool? I know how to turn it off if I need to.
Top of the head. Now I'm trying to learn to turn it back on.
Now I'm learning how to turn it back on.
I wrote, what if I can allow little sips of joy?
What if I can allow a little sip of joy?
Start of the eye, even if I think other people might be mad.
Even if I think other people might be mad.
Under the eye, even if my brain gets a little scared.
Even if my brain gets a little scared.
Under the nose, just baby steps.
Baby sips.
Chin, little sips of joy.
Little sips of joy.
Collarbone, it doesn't have to be perfect for me to sip joy.
It doesn't have to be perfect and probably won't be for me to sip joy.
And there, in this moment, I'm here with some amazing people.
In this moment, I'm here with some amazing people.
Top of that, that's kind of joyful.
That has got joy in it.
I wrote, I'm tapping to help myself feel joy.
I'm tapping to help myself feel joy.
Side of the eye, that can actually be a sip of joy too.
That can be a sip of joy too.
Under the eye, I learned that joy was pretty scary.
I learned the hard way joy could be pretty scary.
Under the nose, especially in connection with other people.
Especially in connection with other people.
And but I just spent over an hour with all these people here.
I've just spent over an hour with all these people here.
Collarbone, and not one of them is sad that I'm joyful.
And not one of them is sad that I'm sipping joy.
Under the arm, maybe I can hang out with new people.
Maybe I can hang out with new people.
Top of that, and practice tolerating and sipping joy.
And practice tolerating and sipping joy.
Just take a breath and just see what comes up for you. Again, nothing right or wrong, it just is.
It's interesting. Someone said about wanting to hold on to joy, how to hold it. And everything I've read and my own experience is that joy is like a sip. You can swish it around in your mouth. You can, but it doesn't belong there 40 minutes later. You know, maybe it's another sip of joy, but that's closer to our biochemical.
Yeah. When we try to hold on, it's like that sponge of water. You squeeze it all out.
Right. And even based, what Kathy and I know about sexuality and sexual pleasure, you're really not wanting to go to a peak and hold it forever,
Yeah.
right? Like a minute of orgasm is a long time.
It's pretty intense. Though it's different from shutting it down prematurely. So if you're
Okay.
shutting it down prematurely, some of that is just learning to build like Oh, I noticed the first step is, oh, I notice I'm shutting it down.
Right. And it's okay. Again, like there's a shutdown, which is often fear driven, a fear reaction. There also is like, okay, I'm getting close to my body is saying reduce sensation, because that's actually better for me. It's better to be more glow than go right now.
Yeah.
And and as we feel the undulations of our energy field internally and decide what happy sounds we make or don't,
Yeah.
or what kind of expression we choose to share and with whom, um, that is filling in for as a trauma informed skill. And I if uh, micro steps, baby steps, little sips of joy, allowing ourselves to just have that a whiff of joy, a sip of joy, a sound that is pleasing to us. Like, ah, ah. If you're suppressed in your making any sound, a little like, a little hum, a little sigh, in the privacy of your own space, that starts, what does that start doing? It starts building up pathways where more of the
Literally
fullness,
building neural pathways.
yeah, your own instrument has its own octaves and loudness. I'm big on acoustic instruments more than amplified, um, you know, super loud ones. That's more my nature. Uh,
Everybody, it's okay however you want to express it. I'd love to address the comment that just came in if it's okay.
sure.
Someone said maybe it's more about hold on to it. It's not so much holding on to it, but others taking it from me. And and mostly my mom, like it's not safe to share my joy with them. It may not be safe. So we like to have a positive outlook here and say that, maybe they are trying to keep you safe. Maybe they learned that joy was something to be scary, just like we learned that joy is scary and they're trying to protect you. They're so enmeshed in that concept. They're like trying to take it from you. That could be what's happening. And another thing I've been studying a lot lately is that there's people that have malicious empathy. And we don't often want to see that in people we love or are close to. But maybe there is a certain pleasure they get from, I can't have it, so I'm going to take it from you. So if they're taking your joy regularly, one, you can just take, oh, they learned that it was scary. Maybe they're trying to help keep me safe. Or you can ask, why are they trying to take that joy away? And I'm really trying to, with myself, I'm really trying to be more with reality and go, people are sometimes malicious, even people we really are close to, even people we love. And when we look at the fact that they could be actually like, I don't get to have it, you don't get to have it, if that is really what's happening, it gives us leverage to go, you know what? You don't get to take this from me. I don't care. You're being malicious. You may not be overtly malicious. You may have some good things mixed in there, but I think it's really useful to try to look at reality as it is and go, whether they mean well or not, they're trying to take something nice from me and I get to say, fuck no. Excuse my French. So,
Is that French? I love the French.
no, it is.
Google Translate always.
So that little bit of anger I get when I think about that gives me the energy to say, you know what? No, you don't get to take it from me. Where versus like when I'm just confused, I'm like, I don't know what's happening. Oh, it's gone. But I'm like, oh, you are trying to take something nice from me for whatever reason. You do not get to have it. It is mine. Something to try on. Tapping really helps a lot around this stuff too. So I just wanted to address that because people do try to take joy from each other. And we want to believe everyone means well, or maybe they don't realize they're doing it. But I think more people realize they're doing it than we like to think. And maybe it's they're protecting us, but I think sometimes there's a little bit of a like, I want you to hurt too. And I don't think that's really nice. And I don't think it should be rewarded by giving into them. So hopefully that's not too
Yeah.
triggering.
Well, that's part of what we do. just to acknowledge that. I appreciate the depth that we're going with this work. To stay present, which will be the focus about our next workshop. I find this so useful to do this in a group where I can feel people riding with me on my joy, where there's a mutuality of shared energy. And like you said, Kathy, I had one particular person in my life growing up uh, who took a malicious pleasure if I was celebrating an accomplishment in finding a tender spot and poking me hard enough there until the joy left me. And it's tender to know that that person really. I wish it had been different because I didn't share very much with other people when that person was around because I learned pretty quickly this is
Yeah,
painful.
same.
This is so painful.
It was
To
literally
be
not safe to
so
share joy with them. It was not.
yeah,
It was
no,
terrible.
yeah, no celebrations allowed, right? And how much that matters. And I do believe that that experience and others, we those of you that have shown up live, thank you, because this experience couldn't happen for me. I'll just speak for myself. It couldn't
Right
happen
there
for
with
me
you.
without other humans.
Co-creation.
The co-creative energy, but also being sensitive. I feel the space that um, there's a shared desire to have spaces where we can be in our flavor of joy, our song, our artistry, our art. And maybe it's not everybody's song. Maybe it's not everybody's thing. Some people don't like dirt and moss and stuff. Okay. But I but having an acceptance, the people that do tapping, for example, since acceptance is one of the core doorways you walk through over and over again, is acceptance that I have reactions, that I want to make response, acceptance that, yeah, I learned I've got superpowers of suppressing joy in myself. And sometimes those come out toward people I love. And I'm in the process of continually and always will be creating space where we can free ourselves, free each other. And um, it's exciting to me. Yeah.
I love this exploration. I think it's when we haven't thought about it, it's not conscious. We're just kind of going with what we learned, and we don't have the traction and ability to make a different life. So just the fact, like even if you're like, I didn't get this, but I have some concepts, and I'm not sure where people are on that, but just having an idea about it gives you traction, something to grab on and say, I want something different, and start creating it for yourself and for the world. And the world definitely needs more joy. So thank you for being.
Little sips, little sips.
Yes.
And then, the sitting in the hot tub of it,
Yes.
occasionally.
Yeah.
So, all
Yeah.
right. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you all.
Everyone, thank you for all sharing so vulnerably and so beautifully.
Okay. Bye for now.